Welcome to the Offspace podcast. It's your host with the motherfreaking most, Chuko Offer.
And it's your favorite co-host, a.k.a. the Boy Wonder, a.k.a. El Nino. I had to bring it back for this episode especially as a go offer.
And I had to go ahead and move that mic a little bit so y'all can get a better view of my pretty face. You know what I'm saying? Pretty chocolate face. I'm that nigga.
It wouldn't be Chuka if he didn't say some shit like that, truly. I'm not even trying to roast Joan or nothing. Like, it wouldn't be him. So, thank God.
But how's your week been?
My week's been interesting, bro. You know, recently, you know this, but the people don't know this. I transitioned from Uber Eats because, you know, at the beginning of the pandemic, that it was making money, whatever. But right now, it feels like it's for the birds, right? So I started doing regular Uber. And I tell you, man, the interesting people I've run into so far, and just a little bit of drive so far, a few, like, you know, moving people around. I've met some characters. That have taught me, A, this shit cannot be forever, and B,
hell no. Let's stamp that.
B, it's going to give you some stories to talk about later because if I have time to break down into one of them.
Go hard, bro. Go hard.
There was this lady, right, who, you know, it seemed a little off at first. The person she was with a man, and she was a little bit older, about 50s, in her 50s. And the man, I asked him how they were doing when she was loading the car. He said, not good. And she's kind of tweaking.
Oh, that's swag.
And so she's like, and she's tweaking getting into my car, and, you know, like, and I'm like, she gets in, and I just kind of look in the back seat like, yo, are you good? Is everything okay? She just says, take me to the nearest convenience store. And, like, you know, I take her there. She's hobbling out, taking her time. She finally comes back out. She's got a Coke in one hand, some other shit in the other, or whatever. She drinks her Coke, and it seems like she got brought back to life. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, damn, that's all she needed, whatever. But
it was time for the percolator. Like, she definitely took something if she changed that quickly, unless she had a soda addiction. Because that's something we never get taught about, but I learned in high school. Like, there are really people, like, will break out in sweats. Like, it'll be like a nicotine or drug addiction. Like, some people that drink, like, a lot of soda every day.
You see all those chemicals and shit in the Cokes, right? And all these sodas. So, I mean, they're not alone. That just kind of make you act different if you drink them every day a lot. So, anyway, you know, as time's going on, this lady, I start to get to know who she is. I'm figuring out the man who kicked her out got another woman who was there, so she couldn't stay there. It's looking like a lot for her. He didn't even want her there in general. They used to date like 17 years ago. Dude who went to prom with her ended up calling her an Uber off of Facebook. I'm pretty sure she was homeless. She was taking me to somewhere she'd never been. She didn't even know who was going to be there meeting her. I thought I was getting set up for real. I started looking around like, bro, this is my
like what?
It's my first day on the job, and it might be raps for me already. But thank God for a happy ending in the sense that, you know, it all went successfully, nothing too crazy. But I'm just hoping that, you know, I don't have too many more encounters that aren't just okay, you know, picked you up, brought you to destination, on to the next day.
No, I love it just because. I mean, we've talked about a lot of different things on the podcast, and when it comes to our personalities and like the things we're into, yada yada. But one thing for sure about Esgo Offer is that he's on an I'm on a limited run for sure, but Esgo's on a way more limited run of working for you niggas. Like, I'm trying to get out of here ASAP, but Esgo's trying to do everything possible to start little businesses for himself so he never has to work for y'all niggas. And I love it. it. Especially as an older brother, it's beautiful to see for the sheer fact that once again, I believe every cog in the system is important. So I think every single human being that, like, from the janitor to the CEO of every building, the homeless guy on the street, everyone should be treated with the same respect, and everybody has the exact same value on this planet. So we have to say that. But there are certain people like ourselves, us two at least, I'll speak for, that know that I can't work for somebody for the rest of my life. Can't do that.
It's like that kid who, you know, they woke up when they were like 7 years old, and they just thought to themselves, I'm going to make it to the NBA, right? I knew from like a young age, like 8, 9 years old, it was like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I don't know about y'all, but this working for somebody else shit of like them deciding whether or not the next day I have a job, deciding my salary and my raises. I'm like, I don't want to be capped. I want to be able to take off my work when I want to. And I don't want to, you know, have to directly work under somebody. So I'm going to make that happen no matter what field I got into. So it's transformed. Like, I remember I used to want to be a doctor and open my own practice. That's not happening, but, you know, it's just transformed into something else.
And it's interesting as well, just because of even we could stay right there for a second and talk about the range of employment. And what I mean by that is a lot of people, like, they forget the fact that you can make a ton of money still and work for people, right? Like, because technically, if we're being real, like, yes, they make most of their money from other stuff as well. Some of these athletes that I'm about to name, but these high level athletes, like Cristiano Ronaldo is an employee. Like Lionel Messi is an employee. Like fucking LeBron James is an employee. Like,
and you don't think of these names, like these bigger than reality names, bigger than life names, as being like, oh, they have a boss.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, yes, they've leveraged and worked their way into a position, just like a lot of these high-level CEOs and a lot of these high-level businessmen or pieces of companies, like they've worked themselves into a position that every company that they work for now, they are more of an asset to that company than that company probably is to them. And so they can call the shots and do what they got to do. But at the end of the day, if someone really wanted to let go, you'd be stupid. But yes, LeBron can wake up tomorrow without a job. He'd find one quick, but he can wake up tomorrow without a job. Messi could wake up tomorrow without a job, even though he's like 70% of Barcelona's jersey sales and like income himself. Did you see that craziness though? Because he did sign the 5-year extension with them and people were speculating him leaving. I'm sure he took a pay cut as well. So I'm sure he probably just gets to keep his profits or a big share of his profits from like sales and things like that. Because like La Liga, like he means so much to one. This is once again, like some people say, which is a bonus that you can have as working as an employee. Because if you become the star student, like you become that star employee, no matter which company you go to, they're going to treat you like they treat a Messi on a low end, of course. But like Messi was able to, like it was something like 5 clubs were willing and ready to pool in money for Messi's salary if he still needed to be paid as much, because Barcelona obviously couldn't afford it. That's why he had to take the pay cut.
You said other clubs?
No, other clubs were ready to pitch
because of how much he
because of how much he means to one league. Because he's the face. He's been the face of La Liga
for
over a decade.
Look. I know, and it's crazy to think again. He still has a boss, but the leverage you can bring to just be bigger than your competitors are paying for you to keep playing against them.
And think about it, even on a smaller scale, since I know we're using examples like a Messi, but like even Ryan Coogler, for instance. Like
about Ryan Coogler. That man's on an astronomical wave right now.
Ava DuVernay, like Ryan Coogler, like we're talking about just directors, right? But we're seeing like what has been done on Marvel, what has been done on Netflix when it comes to both of these people. And now they're kind of the star players of these companies, to where those companies are going to try their best to do whatever they can to keep them, because they know any company in the world that produces these movies at a high clip and has these budgets for these movies will be happy to pay for them to work with them, you know?
Yeah, and that's beautiful, man. Like, I'm so happy that you're bringing that up to people. So no matter if, again, the entrepreneurship route might not be for you, and we'll talk a little bit more on some of these things later, but it still is important no matter what that you know your value and you keep refining your craft, so that no matter where you are, you perform at such a high level that you carry leverage with you no matter what, because leverage is one of the most important things you can have, not only as an employee, but as a human being in general, to essentially operate however you want to. Because not a lot of things give you freedom in this world, as much as we would like to believe we're free in like the US and blah, blah, blah. But leverage is something that can give you as much freedom as you could possibly ascertain, just depending on how much you can get for yourself.
And it's dope because it goes into exactly like we've talked about on here before, but I was actually talking to T about this the other day, and it's like, I won't get into my own stuff and whatever, but we were branching off of the IQ versus like hard work conversation, right? And the way you get leverage is through hard work, right? Because there's a lot of people. I truly believe you can go to any hood in the United States, if I'm just talking about my people. Like you can go to any hood, you can go to any grouping of young black people in the United States, right?
Suburban too.
Let's take even middle school to like 25, a small sample size. I think you can make it a much bigger range, but let's just take that, right? You can go see a group of them hanging out. And I promise, if you were there for an hour, you might accidentally hear $1 million idea. Because a lot of people be talking, they be saying these things, boom, boom, boom. And that's cool, fine, and dandy. I've had a ton of ideas that I've seen come to fruition for other people years before those people, years before they came into actualization. And watch those ideas become 7, 8, 9-figure companies. And it's funny because, I don't feel like nobody stole my idea. We're humans.
Synchronicity is real. People have the same general ideas at the same time in different ways.
Influences and those kind of things, you know, like my generation of 27-year-old black suburban kids in America, when I go to any one of them and talk to them that lived in a middle class or upper middle class or upper class area, or like whatever, like just the burbs, right? I go talk to any one of them and we all have shit that sounds exactly similar, right? So there is the synchronicity, like you said. And so like, it's funny the fact that these people can have all of these ideas, can have all of this, can have all of that. But until, unfortunately, how this world is, which is why it's unfair sometimes, but you have to work your ass off so you can get put in position, is once you get that leverage, because you can show the world, like Donald Glover was a writer, right? And he wrote, it was 30 Rock, or like whatever, he was writing on 30 Rock. And he said all of the things he wanted to be that he's already done and achieved, right? No one took him seriously. He was like the joke rapper, the joke artist, the joke this when he first came out, even with Freaks and Geeks, his popularity and all that, because people knew about his pen. But once he gained leverage, because he started to gain an audience in music, he started to gain this in music, he started to work with other artists that noticed he was talented, this, that. He got enough leverage to where no one could tell him he's not an R&B singer now. You can't tell him he's not a rapper now. He has the numbers to prove it. He has the success to prove it. He has, minus if you guys don't want to be stat people, he has the solid body of work to where you have to listen to the music and be like, oh, this is good.
Exactly.
Because he leveraged it. He worked.
If Redbone was playing at a party or in the bathroom or some shit, we all remember the memes. The legendary memes that came out of just like a gorgeous song. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna save the vocals for later.
No. Save it for them. It's for the Offspace EP. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But coming to you live. But moving right along, my week has been pretty so-so, to be honest. It's been like a heavy mental week. I'm not gonna lie to you. But it's been a heavy mental week in a good way, like just a lot of growth. I think a lot of family members have been talking about like certain things they've noticed in us, right? And I kind of feel it myself, but it's just like, I want more. And that's all I'm going to say, because that's all I want to show and do in life right now. I want more, and so I'm going to go get more. But beyond that, I want to give a big shout out to Lauren Q, Brianna Corman, and Alexandra Valverde, 3 of the queens that I got to, and the whole gang, of course, like Kat, Emily, everybody. But it's like,
notice how he only shouted out women.
Of course, bro. What the fuck?
I'm not trying to say nothing here. I'm not starting the agenda.
No, let me stop. Because you think I hate men. I don't hate men, but it's like
you even saying that is gonna get spun in so many ways down the road.
I know.
From me saying I think you hate men to people are gonna be like, but Ezigo hates. It's like, okay.
But it's like, shouts out to the gang, because really the one I wanted to focus on, I only shouted out the 3 of them because of a particular situation that definitely helped me with that evening. But it's like, it was Lauren's birthday to pass this weekend. Lauren is a super boss lady, like all of my women friends, of course, like can handle their own, successful, working hard. And I just love seeing people ring in New Year's. So you see the growth, thinking about the fact that you've known these people X years ago. So you remember the first time you met them, like how they looked, how they were acting.
In their awkward stages.
No, you know what I'm saying? And seeing like the growth of these people. I'm so proud of these people, man. And so I'm happy. I've been kind of cooped up at the crib too. So it was one of those that I had no choice but to come out for, because I know Lo wasn't about to let me live if I didn't come to her event. So definitely shouts out to her. And a big shouts out to Sailorface and the whole gang, because it was also Evan's birthday this weekend. And Evan is somebody that's been a friend of the show since the beginning.
If y'all don't know, they actually, Sailorface is an entity, helped us create our first Offspace YouTube video.
Yeah, really the first, like, in all honesty, like, if we want to throw in a little funny joke here, and then we'll get into heat checks and stuff. Yeah. Not joke, but anecdote even about the YouTube. Bro, remember?
Because this was supposed to be on a much different trajectory of what we posted on our YouTube channel, but obviously things change and whatnot. But the idea that we were able to, like, conceptualize with them and actually make come to life, at least for that one tennis video, it was beautiful, man.
And it's funny just because this is how you know kids had like $1 and a dream. And I know that video came out like a little bit over a year ago at this point. Wow, it's been over a year since we've had the YouTube now. That's really dope. But like it came out over a year ago, but we had no clue, because there's so much stuff, like everybody that's an entrepreneur, people making businesses or wanting to get into entertainment, etc. If you're not formally educated on a lot of these things, even if you are, what you're going to learn the best from is experience, right? And actually going out there and doing it. And so we have to learn things every single day, right? Mm-hmm. One of the funniest things was like when we were making the YouTube, like, because we got graced enough that we got to work with Sailorface before they got really busy and started to, you know, get a bunch of these contracts with these companies that we're super proud for them for as well. But
so proud.
I remember when Evan finished editing our video, which he did so flawlessly without us describing anything, because it was just like a vibe,
on the same
you know
wavelength of what we even wanted to.
Exactly.
I feel like the sense of humor and the vision just naturally kind of fell in line with what we wanted, he had in mind and shit, and just came to life.
And it was like they do outstanding work. Like I felt like we had like a big production team like following us doing videos and stuff. And it's really just the homies because we got talented friends, thank God. But
and that was before you all saw the quality of some of our first like podcast videos on YouTube. Like being able to have really good quality shit just for the first time. I remember seeing the lights pop out in the camera. I'm like, wow, we're on the set of a TV show right now. This is crazy.
But I remember Evan making the YouTube, bro.
He made our
YouTube. Had to make our YouTube. He had to make our banner. He had to make the ending, and he had to make the intro. Like I'm saying, like Evan, literally half the stuff you see now was just pieces of Evan's handiwork because we really were so unprepared. But it was the homies coming to help him because we were in a new field. You know, we weren't really rocking with the video side. So I love to share that and all to say, like, love Evan, love the crew, and shouts out to everybody being able to see him for his surprise for his birthday right before I went over to Lawrence as well. But moving right along to keep the flow of the podcast going, we have our heat checks for this week.
Yes, man.
We're going to start off with a heat check from Mezigo.
So my heat check this week is called Funky Galileo by Sure Sure. It was one of those songs that I wasn't like looking for because I'd never heard of them, but ended up, I think, maybe on my release radar, maybe on something else. I don't know. But, you know, songs that they thought I might like on Spotify, shout out. You know, hopefully we do business one day.
Yes, sir. So this is Funky Galileo by Sure Sure. Nah, I fuck with the vibe. Okay, Solo. Yeah.
It's just like, it's a whole vibe in a different way, man.
Nah, I didn't expect to switch up right there. Hold on, I gotta give them a little time. Nah, shouts out to them niggas for sure. No, I gotta download this song now.
Yeah, everybody who listens to it honestly ends up liking it too. So it was just one of those songs that so feel good and like up there. So like, I feel like it's made for anybody to enjoy. So go ahead and check that out if y'all like.
No, that sounds like me driving with the roof off with only white people and my brother.
See, that's just it. We got to break that one. Know why? The first Uber drive I did.
And let's just be, first of all, obviously I'm joking. You can definitely see, just hearing elements of this song, what kind of music that it was derived from. We get it.
Like, obviously, like.
No, I just wanted before niggas were like, oh, here comes Chuka saying black people can't be different.
For sure. And but it's just like the first Uber drive I did, bro. It was a woman probably my age and what had to be her grandpa. And, you know, as we're driving, the song comes on, we're kind of vibing for a little bit, and we're not really talking to each other the whole ride, like all of us. But all of a sudden you hear pipe up like, what was that? What was that song called? What was the name of that? Because she was really fucking with it. So, yeah. But let's go on to your heat check, man. What you got for the people this week?
I got something for this people. I got something for the people that I don't think they would expect from me, to be quite honest. I'm gonna switch the flavors up a little bit. But
okay, I already know that what it's not gonna be. Then let's just say that I know what it's not about to be.
All right, so I'm not switching up the flavors at all, nigga. It's ESTG, but it's really 42 Dugg featuring ESTG Rose Gold.
He really did lie. It's the exact same flavors.
Bro,
he tricked y'all.
Bro. And the funny thing is, ESTG's album, which is about to be outstanding, Bigger Than Life, coming to all streaming platforms Friday. I'm not being paid for this, I promise. It's about to be one of the albums of the year, and the fact is, I know I'm gonna have only more heat checks from ESTG. I'm excited. I'm not.
I hope y'all really are fucking with ESTG.
And so this is a 42 Dugg song, so I'm gonna play a little of his chorus leading into ESTG's verse.
Pull it back a little bit. No, you're good. You're good.
I was about to say.
In my chopper, I trust. And when he taking over, so I had to. What? So when it's up, then it's stuck.
This is that I'm in the gym working music.
No, this is the always working music. Bro, come on, stop
really
playing with
is.
EST.
That's the kind of music I need playing when it's just like I'm trying to take life from here to here.
That's the kind of music I need playing when I wake up. Get me ready for the day.
What do you mean by that?
Bro.
What do you mean by that?
Bro. I'm just saying, I think
First thing, 11, 10 a.m., 9 a.m.? What do you mean by that?
I'm on that hoe at 6 a.m., baby. 6, 7, 8, 9. It don't matter what time I wake up. You know why? You play some good music, wake you up, and put that jolt in your veins. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ready to go for the day.
Different shit, for sure. But that was great music.
Bro, that's the kind of music that make me want to ride with my windows down when it's pouring rain outside.
See, it's just like, you say that and you said it with such volition, but it didn't make sense.
I don't even care. Nigga swerving in my chopper, I trust. I'm sorry.
Moving everything crazy.
But that was Rose Gold, 42 Dugg feature at ESTG. That thing incredible. I'm really just prepping myself for this album because I know it's about to be crazy. We weren't really, I won't say we because Ezego may have a couple things to add himself, but I'll say myself, I wasn't really on a lot of new drops last week. I don't know if much music even dropped. I know the Pop Smoke album dropped, of course, so we may talk about that. I'll let Ezego speak on it because I didn't really listen to it. I feel I won't go into a huge spiel, obviously, because I want to lift the spirits and definitely just celebrate.
We've already
pop,
talked about some of these things.
But it's just like I feel real weird when it comes to posthumous stuff.
Yeah, especially like multiple posthumous albums after. So that one's definitely a little bit more like, whoa, I don't know, man, if like the artist would have wanted everything to happen. But either way, I'm sure his family's eating off of it. So, you know, go ahead and get theirs. That's good. And the song would take off. You know, at the end of the day, I still felt like the woo was there. It was still moving around like it was.
I went the woo. Bro, anytime you hear Pop Smoke voice come on, it make me instantly want to start.
Instantly start hitting that little. I feel like it's got to be a name to it.
I think it's the woo walk, but
Okay.
I didn't want to mess it up.
I just don't know.
Because I typed woo walk at a nigga from New York the other day, and he just read no reply to my message. So I don't know if I just said something wrong.
You know what that reminds me of? You know that part of the song where on Big Sean's freestyle, where he's talking about how he saw like OJ the Juice Man and said some shit to him, like made the joke.
He's like, I want to be as fly as you. And then he was like,
But then he said like the sound after or something like, hey. And OJ didn't laugh. He's like, all right.
I bet he wish he laughed now. Let me stop.
Wow.
No, OJ the Juice Man, super fire. But
Solidified.
moving right along. Anybody that rock with Gucci Man is solidified to me. So y'all know how this bias go. But moving right along to some of the ongoings of this week, we already actually went into a good small business talk. We have a little bit more to get onto that too, I believe. Yeah. But
because I got some words for the people because, you know, again, in my pursuit of finding a way. Okay, so look, y'all, if you don't know my story, I started working at Wells Fargo last year at about August.
You're saying company names?
Bro, I worked for them. And I was very thankful for the opportunity that they gave me to be a part of their wonderful organization where I was able to bounce back. Like, look, like it was one of those zero to hero stories. I was fresh off the Achilles injury, fresh off the car accident, everything. I was going through like a spiritual and fucking mental journey, trying to get my physical right, you know. I'm applying to these bank jobs because I wanted to be a bank teller at the time. And, you know, I'm using company references from friends that work for them, and nothing's hitting. Keep in mind, I only probably applied to like 5 different places. But for me, you know what I'm saying, nothing to hit in 5 tries, that's out of character.
Bro, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just because of stuff we've talked about on the podcast before. I know this is completely interrupting you.
Beautiful summer. He called it out too. He really is from Atlanta. Okay.
No, I remember he grew up in Gwinnett. Shouts out to Drewski. But anyway.
And it's just like, you know, for nothing to hit, I was kind of surprised, but I was staying focused. And I was just like, look, I'm going to get the job I want. So I applied to Wells Fargo. They hired me, yada, yada. Happy to work in a beautiful environment with some of my favorite coworkers ever, you know, at that time. And, you know, time goes by, blah, blah, things get let on. You know, pandemic hits. It's like, whoa, I didn't see this coming. So, you know, we're all getting moved around and shit. And our branch is one of the lower income makers. And so naturally, they close down and let everybody go. And so, you know, you think when you're in a job with some type of security, that's not going to happen to you. And that just wasn't the case here. So it taught me something.
Essential worker, huh?
Essential worker, my fucking ass. And I wasn't able to collect unemployment at that time, too. Some other bullshit. But, you know, that being said, I realized I was like, look, I got to learn how to make more money than I was making in general. Like, nothing wrong with them because they were still paying me more than other jobs would have, but like it still wasn't enough. And on top of that, somebody was able to dictate my hours, dictate how much money I made, blah, blah, blah. So I told myself, you got to start learning all these things and like getting into arbitrage and learning how to flip things, blah, 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 and selling NFTs for a while, but trying to move into something that's a little bit more sustainable.
Tell them where it started.
Started with NBA Top Shot, you know, a young collector.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, I was trading stuff that I was passionate about, interested in, because I love the NBA.
Making good money.
Making more than I was making at the bank, to tell you that. And so, good money. But, you know, NFTs are still on the kind of like, they're frontier technology right now. So I was trying to do stuff that's more sustainable, and I'm just learning from people around me all the ways to make money, and like good money that aren't means that people were not normally talking about because it wasn't the safest route. But I learned safe wasn't safe. So things like furniture flipping, things like, lawn care businesses for, again, banks that are trying to upkeep homes that they own that aren't bought yet, things like that. It's just like all these going to garage sales and shit, like shouts out to Gary Vee even, and like buying things and reselling them. You learn all these different ways to make money and good money that just aren't traditional, so people don't advertise them. But I feel like for individuals who are listening to this right now that might be working that job that they're making minimum wage, they're making $10 an hour or whatever, go upgrade your life, you know, and go make some money.
And to add even onto what Esgo's talking about, it's like I've seen so much stuff as of recent, because everybody thinks more high end, right? Because not all of us have business savvy. And I don't even say that to be like, oh, talking down on people. I'm the bourgeoisie. No, because I'm poor like everybody else. Because you're not good in certain
aspects yourself, but like one that you do have a mind for.
Exactly. It's like, we hear a lot of regular stuff. I say regular even though it's big money talks, but we hear a lot of that stuff because that's the stuff that, you know, a lot of higher earning people are able to jump straight into when it comes to buying investment properties, you know what I'm saying? Or buying lots, or doing these things where people talk about the real estate market, you know, big money dumping into the stock market to make money, etc., right? But a lot of people that make a little bit less money, or just more, as you would say, the everyday type of people, you don't really have opportunities to hop into those things as easily.
You need a lot of capital for.
Exactly. As easily or as seamlessly as these people have done themselves, you know, that do have the capital. Mm-hmm. And so there's so many other businesses that people don't think about. Like there's one dude that I saw on Twitter that kind of started this movement of like virally. And then I've seen a lot of people pop up in different towns because they didn't know how much bread they could make, started doing vending machines. It's like $800 to $1,000 to buy a vending machine to start. And then you find local businesses. It's a lot less than the hundreds of thousands for loan that you have to take out for property, of course. And then you spend $800 to $1,000, right? Maintenance and upkeep isn't going to knock you too much, right? And the only thing you have to do is restock. If you want to pay someone to restock once you get to a different level, that's something. But if you have like one machine and you're in a town that has like one barbershop or like a couple barbershops, or just like has one little the avenue type of area, or like a movie, whatever, right? You just start asking around to these local businesses, because these are places y'all grew up, man. It's just like, you have to remember your face card. Some of the things that we forget in life are some of the things that could help us the most. Because I'm somebody that once I moved to the city and kind of started just getting my entertainment connections and starting to just
becoming a hustler,
work, you know what I'm saying? Run around here. I started to forget something. I was like, yo, I'm from Peachtree City. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm from here. Like, I have connection there. Like, when I walk around that town, people know who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, people have seen me.
Young Nigerian king coming back for a haircut.
You know, especially, I was one of the, like, two people, like, no, let me stop. But it's like, obviously, and it works to our advantage even for people of color, like for foreign people, because like, you are a very memorable face because of the sheer fact that there weren't many of you, right? Mm-hmm. And so like, people remember my family. Like, I go to the church and like, people will still know us, still talk about us. People's parents still talking about, oh, it's Chuga, like these little things, because they remember the little middle schooler, the little high schooler. Use that to your advantage. These people own the businesses in those towns. You know what I'm saying? These people are a part of those boards. You ask somebody, right? You ask 100 businesses in your hometown and you get 99 no's. If you get one yes of you can place your vending machine here, I just want like 10%, right?
That's money.
You make, let's say you make $300 in that month, so it's nothing, right? $300 in that month, multiply that by 12, right? So you have $3,600. You take that $3,600, 10%, so $360 goes to them. You paid $800 for that vending machine. You just made a few $1,000s that you only have to go once a month to grab your change and go change it at the bank. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because it's not that busy. Let alone we're talking about some of the people that make $1,000 a week doing those things, but that's more maintenance. You have to stock it more. You have to be there more. But you get where I'm going. Like, there's a lot lot of little things. We talk about like if you can't afford it or if you have it. We're in the South. So many people have trucks just so that they could hopefully have sex with the women that get wet when they see trucks. But they forget the sheer fact
that they could use their trucks for more than just like, you know.
You forget that you could use your truck as a truck. Like you were telling me so much other stuff.
Bro, you can use it to carry like I'm trying to get into furniture flipping, right? But I realized my little Camry can only hold so much. So like if I'm working on like maybe some side drawer type things, some like side bed tables, piece things like that, little dressers, that's cool. But I'm not carrying like the full on like
$1,000 bed frame,
exactly, like a whole hutch or something, or like a giant bed or things like in that nature. So, but with that, you have more accessibility to make those bigger flips with it. Or even, again, like you can move around a lawnmower, right? So let's say you get like a little F-150, you throw a lawnmower in the back, you go around to these local houses, again, that these banks are paying for upkeep. You knock out 10 in a day of doing like lawn maintenance on them. They pay you $50 per. You know, you just made 500. Obviously, you spent a little bit on gas, but like, did you really?
What did you make in that week doing your other job? You know what I'm saying? You just did that in a day. And even just moving on, even past that, it's like people think about these like, yeah, it's easier said than done. No, it's literally just starting. Because the reason I say that is I won't mention names, and I know some people are going to be like, oh, you're giving up the plug. No, sir, everybody knows this now, but a lot of people, I won't say everybody, a lot of people know these things, but they don't think about them as realistic. Let me be real with y'all and talk about my friends and like some of my family and things like that. Like
some of them were keeping to us though, you feel me, right?
No, for sure. Okay. But it's like even using places like Facebook Marketplace or like your typical like local like swap-in shops or like sales little Facebook groups, right? Yeah. If you live in the burbs or you're blessed enough to come from like certain areas or even in the city and stuff like that, if you pay attention to these groups every single day, I notice them giving away something for free. Because you think about it, if you live even near, right? So let's say you live in the poorest town ever, but you have access to the internet, right? And then you have a car. Let's just say you have a car and you're in a poor town. So nobody in your town is giving away stuff for free. A lot of the times with zoning and things like that, a rich town's not that far.
It's right around the corner.
And so like that rich town, if you are on their Facebook, check their groups, bro, I'm telling you, I've seen like, I won't mention like certain stuff we've talked about lately, but it's just like, I've seen $2,000-$3,000 pieces of like fine furniture, like certain households be like $50 or somebody can come get it for free. I just need it gone today. I just don't want to see it anymore. Like I'm saying, like these are people really getting rid of nice stuff that you can literally go to your house, buy some, like the minimum I've seen, I saw somebody, this is a real story. Literally I saw one of my friends, genuinely, one of my friends just buy a dresser from a place. Dusty as hell. It looked kind of whatever. They just cleaned the dresser. That's it. It didn't even need to be retouched.
They didn't paint it or anything.
They didn't need to be painted or retouched. They cleaned it and sold that same dresser for $300 the next day because it was like a $700 dresser and they got it for free. So they just came up on profit. They just didn't feel like waiting for the $7.
Yeah, man.
Like there's so much money out there if you decide you want to hustle, but it's different. You have to have some capital sometimes to start just for little things. Like I know it sounds menial, but I mean, like we're talking about really the gutter sometimes. It's just like you may not have enough for gas some days. You may not have enough for certain things some days.
And you might look horrible, like, you know, in your mind of like, you know, I respect myself too much to do certain things, but like, no. At the end of the day, you develop those things because you go on Instagram and you see people posting their vacations, which they might have taken out fucking loans for. Let's be honest.
Let's just be clear.
Doing a fucking lot with very little.
We're seeing a lot of PPP vacations right now. Exactly. I just want y'all to be clear.
And so, you know, you might end up being one of those water bottle boys passing out for a little bit. But if you make $50, I'm sure you could make that 50 flip to something for you. You know what I mean? Like you just have to be diligent to drop ego a little bit and like keep that up for a little while and then just work from the bottom, because at the end of the day, no one who has it, and let me not say no one, but most people who got it at some point in their lineage, they didn't have it. And the person who did get it had to, you know, humble themselves a little bit.
Had to hustle. Like, I mean, I've got plenty of members of my family that's some of the talks we've been going on about right now, about the fact that, and these are people I know are millionaires when it comes to like assets and stocks, or even when it comes to liquid, like really successful.
You heard
people.
that right, by the way.
And I'm saying M's, millionaires. And they're talking to me about like some of the stories where they had to be the most humble and just super humble themselves to get to the point they are now. So, I mean, nobody's too big for anything. And even one of my closer homies, I won't even use his name on this just because I don't want like people, of course, being like, oh, this person's rich, this person's that, but he's for sure a millionaire at this point. And it's like one of the first things, I sat and I talked to him and I said, yo, like, what would you do to make money right now if you had nothing, just to like flip it and figure it out. And he's high business acumen, whatever. The first thing that came out of his mouth was Facebook Marketplace. First thing that came out of his mouth.
That's the advice he gave me, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the advice he gave me.
And so I probably stole that advice from you, to be honest, and it might not have even been a conversation I had with this nigga, like, to be completely honest with
I'm not gonna lie, we talk so damn much at this point. Things kind of blend, so I wouldn't be surprised, but I know I've probably done the exact same.
But now we'll end our Gary V segment so people don't think that we're just trying to sell people business dreams.
All of this is game for people who don't have it. Obviously, if you have your full-time jobs and you're content, we're not talking to you.
Of course.
Even then, I feel like you could take something out of it. But I know there's plenty of people who are in positions that might be younger than us, might be the same age as us, might be whatever, might be older.
Right, I saw a 22-year-old on Twitter buy not a car wash, and they got their money together, got a loan. They bought a car wash because they had decent credit. Their parents probably helped them out like earlier in life so that they had good credit. So let's say there was probably a step up there, but it was one of those, not the fanciest looking. It was a self-serve. It was like let me break the picture down for people. The air freshener is right in the front. You see the little machine. You got to put your coins in. You got to use your coins for the vacuum. Like, we get it. He was talking about how he grosses probably nets, at least $1,000 to like $1,500 every single week. And because people wouldn't think about the fact he's going to the bank with like garbage bags sometimes full of quarters, and it's just like, no one wants to do that. No one wants to go to the machine with the quarters. No one wants to
look like that guy. But when I got a garbage bag of it, that's money.
He was driving up to the bank in his Maserati at 22. So I swear he probably didn't care what nobody wanted. Nobody thought about him having bags of quarters.
At all.
So,
but talking on money moves, I know. Do you want to get into the other one now?
We can get into Braun.
Because that boy is making a little bit of ka-ching. I looked into it too. So like, I'll just go ahead and say
hard. Shouts out to the success of Space Jam, by the way.
Yeah.
That's a movie that I still want to see. We'll break down a little bit more if we do watch it. But I just wanted to give a shout out to Braun there because that's beautiful. And fuck you niggas that is talking about Michael Jordan's performance was better, nigga. It's a kid's movie.
There's always somebody who's talking about like
kids movie.
You know what I mean? Like,
like what?
They're just doing too much. But on this end, actually, company that was on the back end of Space Jam in partnership with others, obviously, to actually make it happen, like Warner, with Time Warner and everything. But the Spring Hill company that LeBron and Maverick Carter and everything started, and they got together some like about $100 million like a year or so ago, right? To actually make come into fruition right now, and they're in talks to like sell some majority stakes if they get the deal, as well as minority stakes in the company. But with all that talk, there's been valuations of their company, and now it's at a point where it's worth $750 million. And they're in deals to sell partial stakes right now, or there's talks around them working with the likes of, because those companies haven't commented for obvious reasons, but it's talks where they're in talks with people at Nike, major streaming services, and big tech companies. These are the kind of shit I'm talking about. It's just like, you start with $1 in the dream, but you can get to where you want to be.
Exactly. This man,
and we know Braun has money now, so I don't want anybody to stop. I want everybody to stop lying like he's not in a tier that he should be in right now. People are talking about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is very successful,
for sure,
and very high up there, but he paved the way so that a person like LeBron can do it a little bit faster and a little bit sooner than him.
Bro, Braun is a billionaire before he leaves the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Like, before he leaves the NBA, he's a team owner. He's a this. He's
like known. I'm not saying Michael Jordan wasn't, but Braun is known.
Like, you feel me? Like this is very, very much. This is what he set up for the next generation. You know what I'm saying? And Braun took full advantage, even though niggas want to compare them all the time. But shouts out to LeBron. Shouts out to that success. Shouts out to Rich Paul for dating Adele. And like, so we're gonna.
That was a very weird thing to plug there. Really though?
I can't.
No, but really though?
I can't lift up black men.
No, he does.
I can't lift up clutch. I'm a clutch agent, nigga. I told you I'm a clutch agent.
We'd love to be. Talk to us. Friend of the pod. But he really does date her?
Yes, Sirski. That's why they were courtside together at the Suns game.
Man, I'm not going to lie. That's beautiful.
Dreams money can buy.
That's like I hope you don't break her heart.
Bro, he went from like selling LeBron's jerseys and stuff on the side, like out of his car, like representing this dude like young and like boom, 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 to now he's probably worth 9 figures himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, going crazy. Like, I love seeing the success of people that bring their brothers with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's beautiful for me, because I don't care about people being the richest people on the planet. I care about people that became rich and then made everybody around them rich, because that's beautiful to me.
Like Shohei Ohtani before he even gets his major contract, donating.
What that young man do?
Giving all of his Derby money that he won, the $150,000 to the Angel staff, just so that they could have a salary bump and kind of help them out. You know, a little gift, a little bonus, breaking off bread for them, just cause.
Blessings will never stop appearing for those that are humble and for those that are genuine and for those that are selfless and give back. It's only those that are the greediest that live life the least happy when it comes to their successes. And it's why they continue to chase more and more and more, because they think it's going to fill their soul up. But the ones that do reach these pillars of success and these tiers of success while sharing with everybody and while lifting people up the whole way, I think are the greatest success stories in the history of this world. So shouts out to Braun, shouts out to all of them niggas.
Yes, sir.
And moving right along on some more sports news. Well, it's not necessarily sports news because none of that Braun stuff was sports news, but I wanted to mention this because I thought it was a great moment. It has to do with music and sports. I guess there's just multiple covers. I could just be very wrong, but I know they both have a cover. Covers. But Naomi Osaka has a Sports Illustrated swimsuit.
Oh, you're talking these? Yeah,
swimsuit edition cover. So shouts out to Naomi. All we do is lift her up and talk about her success. But something else beautiful, because another first was done. Meg was the first rapper to have a Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition cover, which I don't want to dim Meg's light in the slightest, because I think it's so great and I am so excited for her on this. When I saw first, I was like, dang, Sports Illustrated really missed the bag on Nicki. Just because there were so many years that was
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that was an obvious choice.
If no one else,
I was like, what?
Even though they could have before Lil Kim, like they could have done a lot of people.
Like, there's a lot. So that's why I was confused when I saw first. I was like, wow, this is really the first one.
If we're being honest, there was even a moment there where they could have done Iggy. Like, there was a lot of people.
Nah, we weren't going for that one in the hip hop community.
We weren't going
for that one. Like,
bro, I'm just saying.
I probably bought the issue, but I know us as a community, we weren't going for that one.
I'm sorry. Laughing after that seems so disrespectful. I just keep it going.
Bro, Blackfish Iggy, the sexiest version of her. Let's talk.
I'm not getting into the different variations of this woman, especially on that tip. It's a little bit much for me. I ain't kept up with her like that. I'm gonna be honest with you, but
no, I saw it on Twitter randomly because niggas were talking about, is this still Iggy Azalea? And then it was a picture of her, and it was like they got the Kardashian upgrade. She even had the brunette hair and everything.
Ooh. But back to uplifting other women.
But yeah, we're uplifting. I'm sorry.
Did you see the Naomi Osaka cover?
Crazy sometimes.
Did you see the Naomi Osaka cover or picture?
Friend of the pod.
That it was the earrings where I think diamonds are a little whatever at this point. Obviously, that's coming from a nigga who don't have diamonds, clearly. But so the people who can afford to have that many of them in that fashion, go ahead and do your thing. But she had these earrings that were like the heads of like tennis rackets, just completely diamond
chandelier,
out, looking shine bright like a diamond. Oh. It looked immaculate.
You know what's the dopest part about those pictures too?
That was a different kind of look.
Dante did them.
She served.
She did serve.
She served some looks, eh? Oh my God.
Get it? She plays tennis. She served.
All right, they're going to get me out of here at some point. But what were you saying?
Dante did those pictures. That's super cool. DJ's friend.
Oh.
Yeah, he did those pictures for him.
Wait, so really? That's fire, man. Shouts out to him.
He's up. So shouts out to him. Shouts out to ABDM Studios. But moving right along, I thought that was really cool just because, I mean, it's not to just harp on it for too long because, yes, every single horny male at a young age, like, probably looked forward to the swimsuit edition every single year, like, for a while. I forget when that fizzled out. I feel like I might have low-key been too young to even be a part of the people that looked for those.
I just remember, like, them dropping and, like, seeing the swimsuit editions when they drop. I wasn't looking for them, but, like, you would hear about them. And so as soon as you see them, it's like, oh, these are nice. You know,
they were always at the crib.
I wonder who was fucking ordering them as a youth.
It wasn't me. That was Pops for sure. Not trying to sell that nigga out, but
oh my goodness,
that was for sure. And notice how we didn't get Sports Illustrated all year. It was like that one issue. Bro, we always had that one issue. That was fine. I love that. Shouts out to the real niggas. But see, bro, you didn't know that for real.
It's all clicking in my head now too. It's kind of wild.
Oh, that's a wild boy. But anyways.
So notice how we didn't have it any other edition
with no type of Sports Illustrated. But that swimsuit edition came around and it was on the table. It was there.
Oh my goodness.
But Niggas are disgusting.
Is it disgusting or is it supporting people?
It is.
Is it supporting people though? Really?
It's supporting people.
We'll get into that one later.
So definitely some of my first like non-video wax were off of some Sports Illustrated for sure.
I can't believe still in this day and age. First off, there's a whole conversation when it comes to jacking off eventually, but there's a whole generation of people that were jacking off to magazines. You know, like Playboy, the little Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. You know, it's just like.
Now it seems like such a foreign concept that that almost just seems like you're doing it wrong. But it's just like, the fact is, even me as a person,
it was a generation of people who were imagining.
We know our history. You know what I'm saying? So we don't even need to get into that one. But it's like, dog, I can't even. It still feels weird for me to even say the fact that I used to whack to magazines too. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the day when that was popping. Like, just because, like, we've always had internet. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we lagged. I was like, why did the nigga flip the covers open? So now you think about how crazy that sounds, though. Like, you be in the bed, because I'm a bed whacker, so I'm not really a chair whacker like a lot of people. Like, I like to be comfortable, sprout out in the bed, you know.
This man's setting the whole image right now.
Put one leg up, you know, be in that good
position. You're trying to imagine Sugar tonight.
Imagine, like, you're holding the magazine, right? So you're not even trying to get none on the magazine. So you got to keep that thing clear. And you're sitting here turned side, just yang, yang, yang.
No, you can't make those yang, yang, yang noises while you're doing it, bro. Like, on the podcast? On the pod?
Edit staff back there. Can y'all edit that one out?
And then, if y'all have been watching these episodes, you know nothing's edited, so you're getting all of this uncut, unrated. Fuck
Jesus.
You know what's funny too? They've realized the market shifted to where people don't need their magazines for that kind of shit anymore. That like it was like 2 years ago or so, or more at this point probably. Playboy just said, you know, we're not doing nude magazines anymore or nude photos. So they're just.
Playboy's out the game?
Yeah.
Is Hustler out? Is Hustler even still a thing?
Bro, the fact that you said that, I don't know what that is.
Bro, Hustler was one of the disgusting ones. That was one of those they were showing.
I have no clue what that is.
Because Playboy always was about being like tasteful. Yeah. So it'd be like, oh, okay, you're just gonna look sexy and like kind of quaint and cute, but you're naked. You know, let it like a little nip out, let a little hairy out. You know, let you know what's going on down there. But like Hustler was one of those like you might just straight up have the dildo like inside of you with like leg on the table, like sprawled out like on some porn scene. It was either Hustler or Pet House. Because those were two of the disgusting magazines.
I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna go ahead and move on from this section for the sake of like our child audience.
Oh yeah, true. I forgot. This is for kids. The Offspace is for kids for sure. All right, let's go on.
Yeah, do what you want.
Speaking about for kids, did you see?
Anyway,
did you see Lil Nas X's rollout for his single coming out?
Okay, I saw it, and I don't know how much of it was planned before, but I think he just saw the stuff that he was in and was like, fuck it, I'm just going to work with it. But I wanted to talk on that before because, yeah, you know, I'm in these marketing classes and things. I'm learning about copyright. I'm learning about all these, like, little trademarks and things like that. And it just, something occurred to me. I was like, how did he really never see, and how did his team never see it coming that they couldn't just take a Nike silhouette and remix it and put it out there and not get any legal repercussions?
Bro,
like, that's wild.
Bro, it seems such like a bad idea, I guess, in terms of just legality, that no one assumed that he wasn't working with Nike. Notice how everybody was mad at Nike because they were like, oh, he's definitely got to be working with Nike, right? They didn't just steal some Nike shoes and put some blood in them and say, let's sell those bitches. Like, but I mean, regardless, we don't know the full optics of it. We don't know exactly what's going on with it.
And what if he is on the low and he's just been lying that they're
That's what I'm saying.
him?
That's why.
Because he signed to Atlantic or something, right? Like
I don't even know what but he's definitely signed super major. So I mean, small for the camera.
Getting some quick little video in, yes sir. But that's kind of, yeah, I'm sure. Okay, now that I'm saying that out loud, it really does sound now that they had this planned out. So I've been falling for it. You got me.
That's what I was about to say. So much of this music industry is smoke and mirrors that I want to believe a lot of it. Don't get me wrong. But I understand that I just won't let things surprise me. Like it could just be a rollout. Just like speaking of rollouts, and bro, did you see? Even though it's dope because this is somebody we could speak on for a second. Kanye West, right? Just moving right along from Lil Nas X. One is I want to give Kanye his credit for his genius,
The listening parties?
I want to give Kanye his credit for his genius because somebody was talking about the fact that that the internet's been in a buzz and it's been super like talking about Kanye and focused on Kanye and on his album, boom, boom, boom. And all he's done is let a couple people come to a listening party and then worn a mask in public a couple times. And it just comes to show you how much of it. And someone said Kanye is interesting because he's one of the few people in his age group and older that it seems like their core fan base at the time is getting younger somehow. Like he's captured the youth because he stays cool. Like he went into streetwear, he ran into this. And so now since Yeezys were so cool and his brand and like how Kanye does things, it's like you have a lot of middle school and high schoolers that are core Kanye fans right now, even in his demographic.
Yep.
Like he has huge, so it's dope. Speaking about like the LeBron.
I did not even think about that. That's crazy.
Isn't that dope?
You're right.
Like
though.
thinking about LeBron doing Space Jam. He's doing Space Jam because of all the little niggas like me that were 6 years old, or I won't say 6. I don't remember the exact age, but that were X years old when Space Jam 1 came out. Didn't really watch Jordan because I was dumb young. Don't get me wrong at the time, but I thought he was super cool because I had secret stuff. You know what I'm saying? Just some little cartoon thing, and I saw him dunk in a movie with his arm stretched. So like all these kids that missed the 10 years that we've seen, well, almost 20, of course, but 10 years like kill run that we've seen LeBron go straight to the finals and all the majesty, boom, boom, boom. All the kids that missed it but are growing up now, and LaMelo is going to be their favorite player, or like the Lucas, or like the Giannis's and this, that. They're going to still remember Bron forever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because of things like this. Kanye's kind of done the same thing. He's integrated himself in every generation like coming up to where no matter how old he gets, you're still going to be having people that are excited for Kanye West.
You know, I think it's also in part past the music side, obviously, at this point. Kanye is captured, even though he went out when he was creating his clothing brand. He went out when he was creating the Yeezys. He went out and talked about how he was trying to make it, you know, accessible to the mass public. And while I'm still holding out faith that he will, especially with the deals with Gap and everything, he's kind of captured the realm of exclusivity. And you know how the youth is right now, especially with like the sneaker flipping and shit, the StockX and all this, just, and how everything's like rare is like cool as fuck, right? You know, it's kind of played into unintentionally or maybe intentionally, kind of capturing that eye of the youth, like, okay, he's giving us something that we care about, so we're going to keep holding up his name, even though, because the youth isn't holding up Kanye for music. Like, they're not holding up Kanye for fucking College Dropout, for Graduation, for 808s and Heartbreak.
You see how our age talk about My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and stuff like that? Like, yes, some of them have heard it, but you think the 13, 14, 15-year-old that's sitting here like raving about Kanye right now is talking about that? No, they saw like, she's such a freaking hoe, I love it. He saw the funny guy that is in media doing wild stuff and also has the coolest shoes on the planet.
Exactly.
You know?
And they're rocking with it, man. Like, it's nuts. So, I mean, shouts out to him.
No, genuinely, I want to lift up and celebrate Kanye for that, because that's really dope, really, really dope. And then one of the other things that I wanted to speak on today, moving right along from Lil Nas X, Kanye, is the NBA stuff, like get into sports.
It's time.
It's time.
Yes, sir.
You see the niggas caught
Talk to me.
LiAngelo in the corner of the PJ Washington video.
Niggas are trying to do LiAngelo sightings like they do for bad bitches that are hanging out with rappers. They're like, was that him? Was that her?
That shows you the media buzz on this family, bro. We're still seeing videos get hundreds of thousands of views of just like seeing someone in a corner and like hoping they might be on a team. Man, if y'all don't go ahead and sign this, well, I know they did. It seems like they did.
They're working something out. They didn't sign him yet. We would hear if they did.
True. If they actually penned the deal, we would hear it. But it seems like they're working something out.
Yeah, they're probably just seeing team fit, things like that, blah, blah, blah. Because I think they're giving him a legitimate look. I think it's one of those, we're not just going to instantly sign you off the bullshit and then drop you after a second just for some clout.
Fuck like, Detroit, nigga.
The Pistons.
Fuck Detroit,
not
nigga.
The city.
The Pistons for sure. I love
Pistons,
all y'all rappers. I swear. Vezo, Payroll, 42 Dugg. No, we love y'all for real. Nah, fuck the Pistons.
Gonna go. Yeah. Okay.
For sure.
So now that we cleared that up.
For sure. Detroit's a dangerous city. I forgot. I have to be clear when I talk about Detroit.
I heard that and I instantly had a Raven vision. Just some darker times, and I'm not going for it. You know, we love Detroit, man. But that being said, you know, it's just nice because, again, with him working out with the team, trying to fit around these guys, and at the end of the day, he's a fucking hooper, bro. Like, he might not be the best, but time will tell, especially seeing if he can hang with them, you know, run some games, see how he fits in the system, see if there's chemistry there, and let's let him rock.
And he has He also is in a unique position to where, and I don't want to put it on his brothers because LiAngelo has been putting in the work sincerely. And what I mean by that is, you could see his body change because he averaged the most points out of all 3 Ball brothers in high school, but he was a little bulkier. He was more football build, so people.
And he wasn't going to get as tall, which is fine, but he's still not short.
Exactly. He's like 6'4". You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? He's a shooting guard.
So he's guard height.
Like, you know what I'm saying? He's guard height. That's what he was supposed to be anyway. But he just likes shooting. And I think people were a little bit dissuaded by that and like the UCLA situation. Obviously, we're not going to go down these negative things, but he's been taking every tryout. He's been just working out every single day. It's just like he's not somebody that's been sitting here begging for like a free ride. Like not like the yo, I know Zoe, hire me. Like yo, I know LaMelo. Like no, he's been trying to do the hustle. But when you have entities set up to take advantage of people, like you saw with the Pistons and other little things where they're like, oh, it's the media side. We may be able to milk it without. It kind of sucks to see people not get honest chances and honest looks. But if he gets this honest look from the Hornets, and if he doesn't ball out and it doesn't work, then he tried and that's it. You know, no one's going to care that much. Like there's 2 almost all-star level, if sure in the future, all-star level family members. Like they have a super successful family. LiAngelo bought his $1 million house already off of just endorsements and random stuff. Like he's good bread wise. It's just like you got to give people an opportunity to show what they're worth if they feel like they've earned that opportunity.
Exactly, man. I think he has the potential to show it. And at the end of the day, again, even if I know you hate to say it in the sense of like attributing things that aren't just the player's hard work to them getting a position. But at the end of the day, this is the leverage we were talking about. We saw Giannis be able to have his brother on a team with him and be in the position to win an NBA championship potentially if they close out this next game. And we see what LaMelo Ball's doing, Rookie of the Year. We see what he's doing just from like his numbers. We see what he's doing from the numbers outside of basketball. Like he's developing a lot of leverage for himself within the Hornets organization. So.
And we see, just on top of that, we see how stars treat that first contract when they've already developed leverage. They treat that contract, they're happy to stack money and, you know, of course, stay with their cities. But if they're in some boo-boo boof place, a lot of these stars are ready to ship off and leave.
We're already seeing Zion talking about he wants out.
Which I don't blame him. We were mismanaged organizations, so I won't even get into them lame-ass niggas. But it's like, though, Charlotte has not been that far off from the Pels either, you know, from like a mismanaged kind of boof organization. Until
a certain person came around, the GOAT, one of them.
It looks like, you know, Jordan came in, they changed a bunch of staff.
Rebranded.
It looks like they're trying to, you know, really push to make this a market people care about watching. Charlotte as the city, they have a unique opportunity too, because Charlotte's not a city that's going to be as big as like in Atlanta or like in New York. I'm talking about cities like big cities in the vicinity or like Miami's and things like that. But it's such an upcoming city in terms of just like the tech culture going on over there, the businesses out there and the money out there, to where it has the chance for a potential boom to make it a big city and like a bigger market city. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel like it's a good business opportunity for both of them that could work out for everybody involved, of course. So shouts out to Jello as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man.
But moving right along to somebody that I'm going to start this because
is this the apology pod?
This is the finals, and so I'm going to start this off with one leading with love for my brother right here. Ezgo did say that the finals was probably going to go to 7. And he said that early. And
you can check it on our finals predictions before the series started on the podcast.
6 or 7, or did you say 7?
I said game 7. I don't know who's going to win.
Okay, game 7, you don't know who's going to win.
I think.
Me, I said Suns in 5. Let me go ahead and apologize to my Nigerian brother. Let me go ahead and apologize to the former Pelican legend, Drew Holiday.
Yes, sir.
Let me go ahead and apologize to Kobe Chris Middleton.
Yes, sir.
And let me go ahead and apologize to Connaughton, who knew that nigga was shooting threes and only hitting splashy. Let me super duper go ahead and apologize to Bobby Portis for sure.
Yes,
for sure. Hustle man. Yeah, that's him. And let me go ahead.
PJ Tucker happy as hell not to be guarding a nigga that's 7 feet anymore.
Let me please go ahead and apologize to PJ Tucker. And my last apology. This one hurts the most because I spent a lot of time roasting this man into the dirt. Please let me go ahead and apologize to Brook Lopez.
Big apologies from me too.
Big apologies to Prime Shaq.
Oh my goodness, that boy Brook Lopez crazy.
Because that's how that nigga looking out there sometimes. Y'all niggas is not able to guard Brook Lopez. Bucks, yeah, that's them in 6. But
it's looking like it's not going to 7.
I
but
said Suns in
I'm
5.
holding
It's
out
looking
faith
like
that
Bucks
it's
in
going
6.
to Game 7 because I've been seeing some of the most entertaining basketball in a minute out of these two teams. Like that's what you expect from the finals. The refs are letting shit get a little spicy. They're letting some things like fly. They're not calling the BS travels too, because sometimes you see players doing the weird like we just got the ball in. I'm gonna take 2 steps and then dribble. They're not calling whatever. They're just trying to let it just be straight. Like the game will decide the game.
The hoop, it's a battle.
And the Bucks are playing at a dangerously elite level. Like I'm not gonna lie, that sequence of Drew Holiday ripping the ball from Devin Booker like a little boy, and then pushing the ball up and throwing.
And Book is
Giannis
one of his favorite players. He just had to
sure.
be. He just had to be honest about what happened there.
I watched it. You know what I mean? And then running up the court, throwing the oop to Giannis for one of the most athletic, like precision, just nice finishes of an alley oop. That whole sequence is something that's going to be remembered for sure. Like that was just. If you don't like this, you don't like NBA basketball, man.
Tell him.
Truly.
And I mean, super shouts out to them boys, man. It's just like, I think the older we get, the more emotionally intelligent we get, the more we care about sports. We care about like the people behind the sports and not just these cogs in a system that dribble balls and like pause, and kick and, score, do whatever. Right. And so I think that it makes you really become a better fan of sports. And I know, yes, we're always going to have the competition. If you want somebody to win, it's smoke all day. I'm one of the most competitive people y'all will ever find, which some people don't think sometimes because they'll hear me be so level-headed about this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I think once you get to that point, you start. Like, I always disliked the Bucks as an organization because I just thought it was a lame organization, just being real. Like, it was just not cool. It was lame.
It was hard to be a fan of the Bucks in our lifetime, 100%.
And so, like, it kind of made me I was a fan of Giannis for the fact that he was Nigerian. That's it, just being completely honest. And I thought, and I even said, if you go and check those podcasts, I threw Giannis in as a name when I said they were trying to make Europe invade the NBA, like, push the narratives on certain players. But I said, clearly, Giannis and Luka were 2 that I said that they definitely show the talent for it. 100%. So I never talked down on talent. So let's be clear. The only one that I feel like I really went crazy on was the French guy, but we're not going to get into him. But like when it comes to Giannis,
he might need an apology one day.
One day for sure. Because if they honestly played with FIBA rules, he would probably look like prime Shaq out there. Like genuinely, just being completely honest. But like, and so, nah, let's not do that to Shaq. I know Shaq would be so upset to be compared to that nigga. But 100%. Let's talk about Giannis.
Let's talk about
I
it, man.
apologize because of the fact that I was only a fan because he was Nigerian. But it's like, you look at the personality, you see that person, that's a young man at the end of the day. That's why I want people to be able to separate sports from these people, because like Giannis is a 26-year-old who has won MVP. He's won Defensive Player of the Year. He's been on NBA first and second teams. He's been on all defense. He's won every single award in the NBA, every single meaningful award in the NBA besides Finals MVP and a championship. And it's looking like if he wins this championship, he's going to get that Finals MVP too.
I don't know who else it would go to. And it's crazy to say that when they have the whole team playing crazy with 2 other players that look like on many other teams they could be Final MVP.
Bro,
too.
what? Giannis? No, Chris Middleton, and we won't even we can if you want, but
I'm talking
Drew's
on Drew
up there.
Holiday, man. I'm talking on fucking Drew Holiday.
Drew's up there for his performance as well, but it's just like I want to just go ahead and celebrate Giannis here because for me personally, because of just how I've looked at it before. Because, dog, I couldn't imagine getting the keys to an organization as young as he did, but like, and having all their faith. It's a small market that's truly all their faith in this one player. Him actually being able to deliver and being able to rally around a team. He had the opportunity to go to a Golden State or whatever this year. We all thought it was a mistake, just being honest.
When he re-signed, I'm the people that thought it was a mistake. I was
real.
like, bro, like, if you want to win a championship, this isn't the place to do it. And they made one solid move on Drew Holiday, and they shut me up fast as hell.
Go ahead and speak on that, boy, Drew.
Because at the end of the day, people don't realize something about Drew Holiday because
niggas was telling me Drew deserves to be playing in Shanghai after this playoffs. What?
Bro, first off, they didn't watch the playoffs since they said that. Because I watched these games.
They can't watch these playoffs.
It's like being a Pelicans fan. We had the privilege of being able to watch a lot of good players play through that organization that just didn't pan out for them. But you see players like a Drew Holiday, where I'm not just saying this because I was a fan of the Pelicans, because there's a lot of players on that team that I would tell you first off, they were not the kind of guys that were going to win a championship. They weren't the kind of guys that really were going to be on a roster in a few years. But Drew Holiday was somebody who you saw play, and it was like, this is a top 5 guard in the league. This is a top 5 guard in the league several years over, and on both ends of it, the offensive side and the defensive side. And Should have been all NBA.
Multiple times.
I think he could have been all NBA, like third team, to be honest, at least one of these years. And I know he should have been all defensive team multiple years.
What? He should have been defensive first team a couple years.
He should have had a defensive player of the year once. I firmly believe that.
For sure.
It's just like
they just don't give that to guards like that.
It's not even giving it to guards is one thing. You have to make a strong case for yourself, which he did. It was the being on this market that people won't watch games, but they'll immediately say you're bad. So they'll be giving opinions they don't even have substance to really base an opinion off of, that end up doing in people's careers that are really putting in the work. Really going into the gym first thing in the morning, 3 times a day even, really getting out there when they have family members that have cancer, are going through real shit, have kids, and are still making out the time to be good at their craft, and they're taken away from your career. So to see Drew Holiday play on the Bucks, and not just play on the Bucks, but play at such a high level on the Bucks, and potentially win a championship. Yeah, the Suns probably have one of my favorite players. I'm more than glad to see the Bucks win, because the storyline of a lot of these guys is something that is not only inspirational to upcoming basketball players themselves, but to just regular human beings who are trying to strive for excellence.
And it's just like, dog, it makes me feel fucked up sometimes, just being completely honest, because of seeing where my mind's gone and where I've grown. But it's just like, even looking back to some of those games, even as Pelicans fans, I used to be like, bro, they need to like sit Drew down for a little second. During that year, he was going through the roughest year of his life, and you don't even think about the human side of it. And I would be saying, oh, they probably need to sit him down right now. Like, he's not really working at the moment. Like, I wasn't saying trade him by any means, because I'm not dumb, but I just knew that Drew wasn't performing at what Drew does, you know? But I mean, he was going through the roughest year of his life, potentially about to lose his wife. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, on some crazy shit. And people don't forget the fact that, like, IT won an elimination game the day after his sister died. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't even imagine the pain of losing one of my siblings. So let me just go ahead and knock on wood right there. But it's like the day after he came and put up numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like, we forget these are human beings going through real human problems. And so it's like, celebrate what you can and keep that competitiveness though in between them lines. And when it comes to talking about these sports, but please remember, A, that these are people at the end of the day, but B, I'm not gonna go on that spiel too much, because I've done it 100 times on this podcast, man. But it's like, I think it was easier for me to come to these conclusions because I've played sports before and because I've been in these arenas before on my own scale. Don't get me wrong, I never played pro, but it's like, dog, they have, like we were saying, like you were talking about Drew, right? Like, there are these people talking about the Shanghai thing, the this, that, bro.
People are tweeting these things out from
their couch. They can't do 5 push-ups if you ask them to do 5 push-ups right now. They're talking about a professional.
They don't even understand the game, but they're dictating if a player's good at it, and that's the craziest part to me,
bro. It's taken. I will say this boldly and be very, very clear about this, especially this finals. But the whole playoffs, Drew Holiday is the biggest non-scoring, even though we're talking about 27-point games, 25-point games. I think one game he went for 37, like this playoffs. Like, even though he has put up numbers when it comes to scoring, Drew Holiday is the biggest. If you have bars and meters for every single aspect for how you win a championship, Drew Holiday checks out on more of them than any player on that team. Player on that team, minus just points, which Chris Middleton and Giannis seem to carry that load for them. Drew definitely carries his weight, let's be honest. But it's just like the schemes that are planned and made for the opposite team, they don't directly have to do with Giannis. They don't directly have to do with Chris Middleton. If you've noticed it, every time it comes to shutting down the enemy team this playoffs, who has been the person?
It's not PJ Tucker. It's not the defensive stopper that you always have on your guy, even though shout out to him for his defense.
Who has been the person they've had make the biggest difference when it comes to changing the flow of the game?
You know who it is.
Come on now. We have to be real about that. That little shit matters. If Drew Holiday wasn't in this playoffs, it wouldn't be 3-2 Bucks right now. Like, it wouldn't. That's the reason they disrupted. Like, I know we're going to get basketball nerd here for 2 seconds, but it's like, you have to look at sports at a professional level like a dance. You have to look at it like a orchestrated, like a symphony. You have to look at it like a beautiful progression, truly, because like this is all at the highest level of something, right? And so if you've gone to the gym and you've seen niggas do things that blew your mind at LA Fitness or like in your college gym, you can only imagine.
What do you think they're doing on,
what they're doing in a professional court, and they're all professionals. And so with that being said, Chris Paul is one of the best conductors in the history of the NBA when it comes to taking a team and really manipulating and figuring out how to make it work to the best of his abilities, right? He hasn't won yet. He hasn't had the chance to be in that finals. There's been a bunch of reasons. We don't need to get into that, but he's almost collectively viewed by his peers as one of those when you look at those people. How they stop Beethoven or Mozart from leading the symphony, from leading the orchestra, is by fucking him up. And everybody else is going to be confused on what to do. They can live with Book's 40 points a night. They can live with Chris even scoring decently, because Chris is going to be the reason that Ayton goes off. Chris is going to be the reason that every other piece of that team goes off. So they can care less if, once again, Book scores crazy or if this happens, because if they disrupt Chris's flow, which Drew has done every game,
the man's checking him with the lead defense as soon as he crosses the half. Like if he's taking the ball up.
It's either you figure out a way to score yourself or pass it to the one other nigga on your team that can figure out a way to score himself without the beautiful progression.
And then even if you do get good ball movement and figure it out, you're going to get hard shots. They're going to reduce your field goal percentage all across the board. And when they're shooting at I think it was like the first half, they were shooting at like a 60-something% clip, like as a team. And the Suns were still getting like 51% in, but it didn't matter. That was good enough. It's high-level basketball, bro, and I'm just happy to be a witness, but that's enough of that, though.
I'm definitely excited to see Esgo play some high-level basketball here, because we're going to see it in the next year. In the next year, I'm giving him a time limit. Obviously, there's no time limit on anything, but I know my boy's determination. I know my boy's drive, and I know that little by little, day by day, we get 1% better on everything. So this man's going to show me that jelly fam that he's talking about.
Oh my goodness, there's a lot of things in the bag, but I'm working on the system, and for anybody out there who's trying to build themselves up again, which it is hard work and it is like a lot of mental fortitude, because it's not a day, it's not a week, it's not a month, it's months.
It's time, baby.
You got to just keep at the work daily, even if it's a little bit. Keep at it daily and get yourself to where you need to be, because you only get one of these things. This guy Sensei said, we're in the springtime of our youth. You only get one of them.
That nigga Guy Sensei, old man, bro, that shit like brings a tear to my eye, like makes me happy seeing it every time.
I get it now.
Because I get it, because he smiles every time they ever go up on him, because he enjoyed every bit of the springtime of his youth, and he knows he did. You know what I'm saying? So he feels like life was worth living.
Exactly.
And that's such a beautiful thing in itself, because people will get, I know people consider it corny and consider it whatever, but it's like these animes, these mangas, like, bro, not One Piece has now just become...
One Piece is an allegory to life, and I think people need to recognize that, because there's so many things that are transferable from One Piece to just you operating in all aspects of everyday life.
It's become the second best-selling comic of all time. Guess what's number one?
I don't know, to be honest.
Superman.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Number two was Batman for a while. One Piece just passed Batman.
Wow. Talk about it. Talk about it.
And One Piece is going for at least another 6.
They got a few of them.
It's been 24 years. We're at least going to get 30 of them. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, man, do you have anything you're looking forward to coming up in the next couple weeks, next week or so?
Honestly, nothing like on the entertainment side. Maybe I'd have to think about it a little bit, but it's nothing that comes to the immediate forefront of my mind. I'm just, again, excited to keep working on the projects I've laid out for myself. I'm excited for this next semester to roll around, because this is the final lap of school. I'm on my last semester. God willing, I'm able to get this internship. I'm not going to say too much on it now, but I got an interview for something coming up right now, and I just want to close out, So y'all send me your energy and your prayers too, because your boy needs it.
Yes, sir, Ski. But with that being said, my name is Chuka.
My name is Ezigo.
Yes, sir. And this is the Offspace Podcast.